Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Infinite Wish. I am Infinite Wish. So today I'm just going to be finishing Venus in the 12th house synastry bonus. So let's just get right into it. So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about Venus in the 12th house synastry is fantasy reality, fantasy nightmare, what's going on in the spiritual, and then what's going on, in 3D reality. So, that's the first thing that would come to mind when it comes to Venus in the 12th house synastry. Second thing would be idealism. You kind of idealize, and you could possibly put this person up on a pedestal because you see each other as like a fantasy, like this is your fantasy person. They embody everything that you have in your mind, basically. And the problem with fantasy, I think everybody knows what the problem with fantasy is. Obviously, it's not shared. Fantasies aren't really shared with people, right? So, when you meet someone in your mind, they are your fantasy person. And you're projecting everything on them. And same goes with that person. They're whatever fantasy dream they have of somebody, and they see you, they'll be projecting that as well. So, and what happens when you do that? Well, you can be very disappointed. Once that fog clears, you're just like, what the heck just happened? Was that even necessary? And the thing about Venus in the 12th house synastry is things are not clear here. There's a very fine line with saying how you feel and dancing around it and playing a whole bunch of games. And the secrets. Venus in the 12th house, there's going to be secrets. Why are there secrets? Who knows why there's secrets? It's right away. If you see you have Venus in the 12th house synastry with someone, just know there are secrets. Now, what kind of secrets could be in this synastry? Well, somebody could have a child with someone, that could be 12th house. They could be married. Venus, they could really still love and care about someone. And then they so happen to meet 12th house, and then you end up sneaking around with someone you're not supposed to be sneaking around with. So, and at the same time, that is why the synastry may never fully manifest. It could just be very secretive, that only, this is a shared, secret that you guys have and no one knows about it. And sometimes that's not always the case. The secrets could be different too, going through anything personal, but, those could be what the secrets are. Someone could be, you could be used by this person because it represents foreign lands, right? So, you could be used. So, the other person can stay in the country. So there could be a lot of secrets here. This could be a bet. Maybe somebody got together with a group of friends and made a bet to see if they could get with that person. So, secrets, it could be, it's the 12th house. So it could really be anything of that. And, this can almost feel like a karmic link up. Like you've known this person, and for 12th house could start as the synastry progresses and everything. 12th house can become really comfortable in Venus's presence. And this synastry also represents escapism. So, you're with this synastry link up, you guys could easily be avoiding, you come together in your own little world, escaping from the real world. That's why sometimes it can almost feel like you guys are together when you're together, because, Venus loves being in the 12th house. The 12th house is where you can let your hair down indulge. You don't think about the day to day. So now when this link up comes up, there we go. There's escapism, fantasy. It's mixed in with everything. And the lines can be blurred because at the same time, it's not matching exactly what goes on in your personal day to day, or. So there's just a lot of confusion. 12th house, especially, is so confused. 12th house can have like this deep rooted fear. So they could be secretive towards Venus in that type of way for some reason. And the reason for this is too, like with this link up, Venus is like healing 12th house person with their traumas, because when this link up does happen, 12th house, their traumas are slowly going to start coming out. And like Venus here is like healing these traumas for 12th house. But the thing is, when you're so open with someone to, the dark side of Venus is definitely using the knowledge that they're gaining from 12th house against them. Because maybe Venus also wants to be noticed and appreciated, and 12th house can easily acknowledge what Venus is saying, but not really caring, or so this can have Venus in their feelings. So when this happens, there's definitely a separation that happens. So with this synastry too, it's just so weird, this link up, and then you guys are like getting together, breaking up. There's a long separation, because 12th house, no matter what, for some reason, you are going to be in your feelings with this link up. You are going to be in your feels, and it's going to be confusing, and you're just going to be in your feelings. And when you get in your feelings, and if another person knows that, you can get taken advantage of. So Venus can really feel like unappreciated and not really noticed. And everything might like seem to be on 12th house person's time. I feel like with this synastry, Venus is having fun, but Venus also wants a little bit of structure. But 12th house, may not want that. What do I mean by this? Venus may say like, they can give, themselves to you like when they can. But 12th house person may not like that. Because at the same time, 12th house person wants to really hold on to Venus, or wants to hold on to the synastry, because it's such an escape for 12th house, because, so they could just be really holding on to Venus and not wanting to let go. And, when Venus does disappear, it could be 12th house person that's like constantly looking and reaching out and trying to find Venus, trying to remind them of their presence. And then again, take the energy as it resonates. But you're constantly looking for this person. You're searching for them. You have to remind them like, hey, I'm here. And I don't know how I feel about that. So let's talk about the dark side of 12th house, because don't look at 12th house like that. Yeah, their traumas are coming up, and yeah, they might be, what they're going through, but don't look at 12th house like that. So 12th house could easily have a shell in the beginning, right? 12th house, don't forget, is self-isolation. So 12th house could be easily observing Venus's behavior, how Venus is acting, and 12th house could also be putting on a show too, not really showing exactly who they are, right? So Venus could easily be very, very confident, when talking to 12th house. And 12th house could just be observing and watching Venus's triggers, their behaviors, So 12th house is listening, but listening in a way that they could kind of, hold that against Venus as well. So what do I mean about this? So as the synastry progresses, there's always going to be an energy shift where all of a sudden one person, you feel like the other person has this power over you. And that could easily be 12th house. 12th house is, going to realize that they hold this power over Venus. But And, this could be really manipulative of 12th house as well. So, because 12th house can see that Venus has this side to them, another side that they may not be showing. So, so 12th house could be using this to their advantage. So, while 12th house is being open, and, 12th house might not even be directly open about how they feel, you may be thinking that you know exactly you're in 12th house's mind, but 12th house, you want to see it as like a maze. You're not going to really know what exactly like their true emotion. Yes, 12th house will be showing emotions, but at the same time, it might not be true. But because they're expressing how they feel, you might believe it as their truth. And what do I mean by this? So 12th house could be, you know, be totally okay with walking away. You know, but will still continuously like reach out for Venus, look for Venus. But if Venus wants to end the synastry, 12th house might be all right with it. They, of course, they'll be in their feelings and stuff, but 12th house just might be totally okay with it. And see, that could be another part of these tests because there's a lot of mirroring. It's like you guys are like trying to test each other, do you feel this? Who feels more? Because you really don't know what's going on with this synastry. You don't know why you feel like this towards this person that you might not even know too well. So Venus could mostly, yeah, they might kind of want to see if 12th house will continuously chase after them. So that could be another thing with Venus as well. Yeah. And, there could be energy loss here too. So, 12th house could be spending more on themselves, taking care of themselves more than usual. Venus could just be having fun, like saying, oh, I deserve this. And, if this link up does happen, they could easily be spending a lot of money together, you know, because at the same time, they look really, really good together. Like, if you see these people out in public, you can kind of see why they're together. But sometimes too, you might say, like, there could be people that are trying to, it's like, okay, because it's the 12th house, there could be a lot of haters, like, that are trying to stop this relationship from manifesting, um, you know, so that's, if you do link up and, people could just be so against this relationship. It's like they see you guys together. It's like you guys, it's like they feel like you guys don't really like each other. You guys don't deserve each other. Like that could be like the most negative part of that, manifestation. But like with this synastry, it's like you do well together, when you're in your own world. That could be like going on trips together, just intimate, you guys are just enjoying your own company, having so much fun, exploring the world. That would be like the most ideal thing for 12th house synastry, spending money on each other, just, wanting to see the best in each other. Because again, like this is still fantasy. So, if two individuals come together and you're healed, this synastry can actually like work really, really well together. And, you're with your ideal person, Once again, with the synastry, the first link up is very important. That's going to decide how the synastry is going to, progress. And, not everybody you have 12th house synastry with, it's going to work out. You have to look at the other placements, what's attached to, is there Saturn involved? So you have to look at the other aspects. For me personally, you want to see where Mars is, as well. The moon, you want to see that. So you kind of want to see, and because you do have to pull the energy from different places as well. There's just so much with this synastry. And another thing, there could be blockage on Venus's end, and Venus may never admit how they truly feel. So thank you guys so much for watching.